Hi, and welcome to another episode of our community conversations, as well as the TTown 411 report. We're broadcasting live from our very own McKinstry Banquet Hall, located at 5480 Jug Factory Road here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's a special place for special people for all special occasions. We're also broadcasting live on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV. Go ahead and talk to them, Mike. Tell them how can they sound in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV.
Sure thing, Daryl. You check us out on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio. Just go to your iOS or your Google Play Store, download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, then you type in the search bar Sound Booth Radio 106.1. Then if you're join with us on the radio side of Sound Booth Radio, check us out on the TV side. Just go to your YouTube, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on Sound Booth TV.
Well, Mike, each and every week, of course, Veronica provides us with valuable information relating to our COVID-19 update. And as of June the 1st, 6 inpatients with DCA citizens was positive for COVID-19, 5 or fewer inpatient positive for COVID-19 being treated in the ICU, and 5 or fewer inpatient positive for COVID-19 on ventilators. Per the New York Times, Alabama case went from 88 new cases on May 31st, 2022 to 173 new cases on June the 1st. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act is made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Also, I want to share this disclaimer also that the opinions expressed in a presentation are my personal opinions and must not be construed as representing the opinion of any institution which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. So I just want to make sure we put those out there and let people know about those disclaimers. I want to say hello to my good friend Daniel Van Horn and Veronica Taylor, and she's chiming in now. Let her go ahead and chime in with us. Hey,
Now,
Veronica.
hey, Darren, hey, Mike, did the report come through? Okay.
I'm sorry?
Yes. Did the update come through?
It did, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yep, we thank you
Okay,
for
I
it.
didn't see it. For some reason, I didn't see it. Probably because I was trying to switch. I was on my laptop doing something else, and I was trying to switch from one app to Facebook. So I probably just didn't see it.
Okay. Yeah, it's up there, and I'm like, yeah, I forgot I gotta change it, share it on our community corrections on our page. But while we do that, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll talk for a few minutes. I know everybody getting into the game right about now, so just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay.
For over 27 years here in Tuscaloosa, Catfish Heaven has been pleasing our taste buds with their delicious catfish, pan trout, hot wings, coleslaw, hush puppies, and don't forget about those made-to-order French fries. Whether it's your snack time, lunchtime, or dinner time, give the guys a call over at Catfish Heaven at 205-752-7222, or you can make your order online at catfishheaventuscaloosa.com. So head on over to Catfish Heaven at 2502 21st Street. See you there. For over 27 years here in Tuscaloosa, Catfish Heaven.
Hello?
Hey Rick, I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday.
Oh,
All I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Rib Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Hey Siri, Yes, DJ Mello.
What's the best barbershop in the 205?
New Generation Barbershop.
Where about?
Starting route to 2600 McFarland Boulevard.
Fellas, head on down to New Generation Barbershop, right at 2600 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite C. Go ahead and get you a fly cut from my boy Fred Brown. You can hit him up at 205-292-4995. Also Sam Brown. You can hit him up at 205-722-8506. And how can I forget about my boy Ample Barber? Hit him up at 205-561-7473 at New Generation Barbershop, right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, y'all.
Alright, that's fine. Okay. I'm feeling too sexy to accept requests.
You shopping at a goddamn number 2 pencil.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, LJ Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Hello?
Hey, Rick, I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas' Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. Oh, all I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Rib Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Okay, we're back. Just want to make sure everyone remember to let everyone know about the Juneteenth. That's going to take place on June the 18th, right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And we will have Miss Lala Marie to come on and tell Miss Lisa Young, to come on the program and tell us more about this upcoming Juneteenth event that's going to take place here. I know a lot of people right now watching the basketball game, and I understand that, and we ain't talking a whole lot tonight about any gossip or anything, so that's understandable. So if Miss Lisa Young would like to join us tonight while we're having a short crowd, you can join in and call us and talk to us about the upcoming Juneteenth celebration that's going to take place on September the 18th.
Definitely. Daryl, before we get started too good though, you got on to the last time, I let you do most of the show without saying a prayer, so you got to get that prayer in.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. If y'all would just shortly join in with this prayer with us right quick, if you don't mind. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come through the airways, through podcasts, share greater information, but the greatest information is your Son, Jesus Christ, that died on the cross for our sins. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for your Son. We give you all the praise and all the glory. Right now, Heavenly Father, we're praying for all the bereavement families right now. We're praying for the Jones family who lost a loved one. We want to send a special prayer out for them. There's a lot of other families right now that are saddened right now by the benefit of losing a loved one. We want to ask that you continue to watch over them and let them know that you're in charge, Heavenly Father. Right now, we're praying for all the sick right now. We're asking for a healing for them. We're praying for all our doctors and nurses and all the essential workers at the hospitals and nursing homes. We're asking that you continue to watch over their families as we go through this rude, cruel world, Heavenly Father. Once again, we're praying for the families out in Texas that lost their loved ones, and go with them also. All the families in Buffalo and the other families right now that lost their loved ones at the hospital that I think it was in Oklahoma, wherever it might have been, Heavenly Father. Go with them. We're praying for gun control. Touch our government. Touch our senators and representatives and set a change in their mind, Heavenly Father, that we must need to do something to change that. We're praying for all the homeless right now, all our veterans over in the military, all branches of military. We're praying that you watch over them also. Praying for our government, from our mayor to our council people, county commission, governors, and our president, vice president. Heavenly Father, continue to watch over them. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Praying for all our people that's on this program each and every week, too. We did go through a series of losing loved ones that were strong advocates of this program each and every Tuesday and Thursday that we came on, and we just continue to just make sure and pray for everyone on this program. Deacon Van Horn, we thank you for joining in with us. We will have Lisa Young to call in about another 10 minutes, she say, and talk about the upcoming event that's going to take place. Hey, Michelle Knox, how you doing? Thank you for joining in with us. That's the Campbell lady. She's joining in with us. Any specials going on, just let us know. We'll let people know about it. Did y'all hear about, I think the farmers market is now discontinuing their the farmers market thing due to lack of, I guess, interest. If Ms. Knox, if you'd like to call in and let us know about that, is it true or not?
Yeah, I hate this so bad. I mean, that mobile market was really good for the people that utilized it, but whenever I go, there's really nobody. I mean, I won't say nobody, but it's so few people that come to the mobile market.
Mm-hmm.
And the mobile market was created to help those who can't come out on Saturdays or out to the farmers market.
So what is it? The mobile market that they shut down, or the farmers market?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's the the mobile market. I don't think the river market, I don't think that one is shutting down on Saturdays, because it is now that one is successful. Okay. From what I've heard, I was in a group that said the mobile market, but I'm gonna go on the river market Facebook page to make sure. Okay. But I have been hearing that due to lack of participation or turnout, that they've been considering the mobile market. Okay. No, not to stop it.
It's a problem that people don't know about the mobile. That people don't know where the mobile market is located, or what.
Well, I don't know. They do a good job at least on the social media sites. But then again, those who don't know about social media, that's where the issue comes in. But I think for the people that I see at the farmers market on Saturdays, I still think that enough people would know about the mobile ones. Now, that is a good question, Mike, if they really keep up with the locations. Because it may be Ann Shelby Park, and then they would have one at the McDonald Hughes Center. They would have one at the Gateway. I think the one over here on Greensboro Avenue, the park, what's the park on Greensboro Avenue near Rosedale? That was a location. And then there's one more, I can't think of the film. Maybe at the VA, that center at the VA with McAfee. I think those were the 5 locations. And whenever I would see them there or I would go there, there wouldn't be many people at all. Now, I know there's not going to be as much as that would be on this at the farmers market on Saturday, but there weren't many people at all, and those were great locations. Because just think about the VA, you have all those people that work out there. Even if you didn't have people that come from the community or that Alberta, kind of Cottondale area, and then think about on Greensboro Avenue. That's right there on Greensboro Avenue. That's a high traffic area. And then, And so I don't see many people. I didn't see many people at the McAfee, even though that's one of the biggest employees in Tuscaloosa's out there on the VA Center. I didn't see many people when it was at Ann Shelby. I would see a couple of people, and maybe also people. Sometimes the turnout of the mobile market itself, there weren't many vendors when it came to the mobile market. So maybe it just kind of discouraged that in itself could be one reason why people didn't show up. And so, but the locations are great locations. Like I said, Ann Shelby, that's 15th Street. Right there, I can't, like I said, right to Rosedale, that's Greensbury Avenue. Then you have the McAfee Center. And then where's Gateway is that, University Boulevard is right, that's a good location. And I can't think of the one I said, McDonald Hughes Center. So people, to be honest, I don't, when I am at the McDonald Hughes Center for a meeting or something, I don't see many people out. So I don't know, I don't know. It's word of mouth, maybe a lot of people didn't know about it, but I also feel like maybe it didn't offer enough variety maybe for some people.
That could very well be the case. Cause like one of those places, the place you were talking about, over by Rosedale on Greensboro Avenue, that used to be the curb market before it was blown down in 2011. Of course, that curb market moved to Northport now, but that curb market sat there forever, and really and truly, it was a fallen in shack at the time. But it sat there for many years, and people stayed going in there buying produce, and they had different stuff in there all the time. And I think there's sometimes months was coming up, going to a fresh produce place. It's going to be so much better than trying to go to the grocery store and get some fresh produce. You get a chance to pick the stuff that you want. And like some of these places are not going to have the fresh produce, like the corn on the cob in the shucks field. Like some people love that. Like my stepdad loved it like that. He throw it on the grill like that. Different.
They had the best green tomatoes this past Saturday at the farmers market. They had the best, and they've gone up a little bit some of the places because that's the economy, but they haven't gone up much. Like I would usually get that bucket of tomatoes for like $6. This past week they were $7, so that wasn't bad, and especially when they really look good. So they have like fresh green tomatoes, fresh collard greens that look like they're homegrown. And they have and that's what I think, like, as many people don't come, as many vendors don't come out with the mobile market. And sometimes you have vendors that they don't, sometimes it's more, items for the household, like, or just little jewelry and stuff like that, as opposed to the fruits and veggies.
But can we also put it out there that we don't have a lot of people that's cooking, sitting down cooking like that anymore either. Most everything is ready to eat, microwavable, or quick cooking. So we don't actually have nobody up in there. You have Big Mama and them up in there cutting up greens and cabbages and putting them in for Sunday dinner, or simmering peas or shoot, anything, fried green tomatoes. Those are definitely seeds down here in this state. But like, who do you know that cooking? Pretty much, you want some of that stuff now. You wind up going to some of these restaurants that sell that. Because a lot of people don't know how to cook at home now. In my opinion, I don't see a lot of people cooking like that now.
Those fried green tomatoes that I purchased on Saturday, half of them have been cooked. And I'm about to cook the other half. Yeah, a lot of people are so microwave friendly. A lot of people are, even if they don't throw it in the microwave, they throw it in the oven. Even if it's hot outside, they throw it in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Rodney say fan drive tomorrow at Tuscaloosa Emergency Service 4 to 6 p.m. So that's and Michelle said the mobile market was discontinued. So it was discontinued.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. That was my understanding, the mobile market.
Okay. Well, great.
I hate that though. I do, because some people did utilize it. It just wasn't enough, I guess, to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be crazy considering how you got some people that do go to the grocery stores and buy organic food. And you just about could have got you some fresh produce from the mobile market. Now you have to go to find Curve Market, or you have to go to the river market to get.
I still go to the river market or the one in Northport, or P&P Produce, um, which they've been having some good. I mean, you have to go to Northport to eat P&P, but if I go over there to the other market, I just go farmers market. I just go on and run up the street.
P&P, that's they got the sign say Richardson, but it's P&P.
It's
That's the
P&P.
one. Yeah, it used to be the one over there on Greensboro Avenue. I swear I go get my baked potatoes, and they got them potatoes at the size of the ones you get like at McAllister's, the big Spud Maxes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's places. So I don't know. We even got messed around and got them on fruit in there. If I speak of fruit and vegetables, but at one time, boy, you had that on a daily basis because you had somebody cooking, and nowadays it's all frozen and in a can. So I think that might be part of the reason why it's not as successful as it could have been at one time. Just my opinion. I think that we probably gonna have some of these medals and stuff gonna wind up getting up out of here in a minute because as hot as it has been, you're gonna start seeing some people buy some watermelons, and I don't know if that guy who drives that truck is gonna be riding around town. Veronica, you know what I'm talking about? He usually drives around mostly on the west side in Alberta. Kind of sit up on these bridges, and he sell like I think he grow all that stuff in his own garden. Sell like watermelon and tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff like that off the back of his truck.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see him much. Um, well, he used to do it most of the summer.
Yeah, he didn't do it. He didn't do it in the summertime. So that's what I'm saying. I think he kind of had his own garden, and whatever he did, he'll load up his truck and he'll go and post up. Usually it's on Kicker Road, underneath the bridge, or um, he goes somewhere where he got some shade in. I'll put it like that. And then he might go on the west side, and gosh, I can't. He been around a lot, and a lot of people get greens and stuff from him. So maybe he'll do well this year pertaining to selling produce.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who y'all got for the?
I hope so.
Oh, Gina Van Horn checked in. She said, thanks to everyone who came to the mental health fair on last Sunday at Scotland Elementary. Great turnout. Jenny, if you'd like to call and talk about it, you can and spread the word. I do apologize, but my good friend Mike was there. And
I was. There was so many people there.
Right.
Actually.
And just call in. Hey, share the information if you want to. Still call in. I know a lot of people watching the game or getting ready to watch the game. I'm not sure if it's on yet or not. I don't.
It's on.
Okay.
It tipped up, but that's still the first. They probably don't care much until like the second half anyway.
Oh,
okay. There's a whole lot of filling stuff out. But
since we're talking about basketball for a second, do the pros just don't seem like it's real for us? The sport goes like we play it. You don't. I mean, it's like, is it just really about the money? Because some of the series you could have seen, it should have been a sweep. Some of them went 7 games that you didn't expect. You know, do it seem real anymore?
I fell out of love with it, but I will just decide. I just wait till the finals because it's just something about it that is just, it just doesn't have the it for the fact that it used to have
Yeah.
for me, NBA, and it's like I'm that Detroit Pistons late '80s kind of Boston Celtics because that's my
Right.
Boston, but my Boston is up here battling with my Warriors, so I'm so torn. But it's just I fell out of love with it after the when you get the Pistons, you got the Isaiah Thomases, and it wasn't even just Michael Jordan, all Michael Jordan. It was Dennis Rodman. It was like, it, it was Chauncey Billups. It was Chauncey Billups. It was like it was real basketball, and it wasn't so many fouls. It wasn't so much of you had songs that are entertaining every now and then, or they were clown, but it just wasn't a lot of I don't know. Some things just seem so staged, and now sometimes even sports is that seems staged. Whether it is or not, it just seems like almost like wrestling sometimes. We know wrestling is staged. We know people probably fall out for real, but sometimes you kind of wonder what's basketball.
Okay.
I don't know. But I will wait until I will pay more attention in the finals.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know if the season is so long. That may have something to do with it too. Because when you're younger, you're in school, you watching basketball, you and your friends and stuff, and so it's something you used to going out playing basketball and stuff, and so you probably watch more games. But it seems like as I got older, have kids, you start working, you start doing things. I made a point to try to catch the finals. So some of that stuff bothers me a little bit, but I don't think I don't think it's fake, 100% fake or anything like that. When I think about it, the more I think about it, I think sometimes we just get so busy and unless you're just a fanatic for basketball, you kind of miss a lot of those regular season games. And you just hold off and say, well, I know who I like who I like, and I'll watch the playoffs. If they make it, I'll watch it closer. If they don't, I'll just catch, it's just kind of like that for me.
Basically, it's the same thing with me. By the way, we got Lisa Young on the phone with us.
Hey guys, how y'all
Hey,
doing?
Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Talk to us. What's going down on September the 18th?
Oh, okay. Well, we are really excited as the date is closing in. Um, we're still reaching out to organizations, asking them to come on and join us. We want this to be something that's a collaborative effort. We want it to be a community event. We want everybody to come out and have fun. We got entertainment. Um, we got food. We have food trucks. We have bouncy houses. We have two DJs. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're entertaining. We have something for everybody. Um, we asking people to bring your tents, bring your grills, and bring your coolers, and come on out and let's just have one big community event. Um, that of course is going to be Saturday, June 18th. But I also want to talk about the fact that we have a financial literacy and home buying seminar on Thursday, June 16th. That's at the McDonald Youth Center. Um, if you're contemplating buying a home, if you want to know the ins and outs of financing, if you want to know anything that you want to know, there's going to be someone there to give you that information. Um, when is the right time to buy? A lot of times people think when they get their mortgage, that's just it. No, when you talk about how much you can afford, you need to look at PMI, mortgage, the homeowner's insurance. If you're gonna live in a neighborhood that has a covenant, homeowner association dues. So come out and ask the questions that you have and see if you can get financed. And I know a lot of times I hear people say all the time, I'm working on my credit. And I have this motto in life where I say, let somebody else tell you no. I never tell myself no. You'll be surprised. There are financial products out there for all walks of life. So if if you think that you're gonna have a challenge, come ask an expert. What do you need to do to overcome it so that you can become a homeowner? When we talk about building wealth, uh, your home is an investment, right? Your car is a consumer product. Your home is an investment. So I want to encourage people to come out to that. On that Friday, we want to do a youth and senior forum. We want to have people to come in, community partners to come in and talk about some of the resources with our seniors. And I've been talking with Mike. We're trying to put together a youth forum where it's gonna be led by the youth, right? They're gonna talk about some of the issues that they have, and we as community partners, we want to connect them with the resources that help address any issues that they identify. I say this all the time, if we want to figure out what's going on with our youth, we need to be talking to our youth.
Absolutely.
That so Sunday is going to be Father's Day. I encourage everybody, to spend that time and cherish, and dote on the men in your lives, your fathers. My father. I don't have a father or a grandfather. Everybody's deceased. As far as male figures. And that day right there, that day takes me through something. I know a lot of people with COVID, coming out of COVID, lost parents, brothers, sons. So use that time to show people how appreciative you are of them. That's one thing that I learned from COVID. You have to cherish who you have with you while they're here with you. I'm blessed to have my grandmother with me. She's soon to be 98. And we gonna party like it's 1999 up in here with her. But that Monday, June 20th, we're going to have a luncheon. We're going to have a person that who's going to bring a message about civil rights. And this is going to be a person that lives here in Tuscaloosa. And we're calling that our Living Legends Luncheon. And that's going to be over at the Shelton State Community College. And I just want to encourage everybody, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care where you're going, or I don't care what color you are. Come out and participate. We ain't worried about your economic status. Just come out, participate, and let's just all build community. Let's build community. If you have any questions, I want you to feel free to reach out to me. Lala Marie on Facebook, Mary Lala on Facebook, but my phone number is 205-887-3701. Or you can email Tuscaloosa NAACP at gmail.com.
It sounds like it's going to be a great, great thing to say. And I'm glad you're adding the fact of a home buyers seminar that's going to take place, because I think that's something we have neglected. The idea or the concept. Mike, you hear me? Neglected.
I hear you.
The idea of, hey, what we're paying for apartments or rental for someone else's home can be your own. And I think it's very important that we still instill in our people's mind that, hey, you can get your credit available or straight, or you can own your own home. Now,
and there a lot of people, and I don't know about everybody else, but I know for me, buying my home was actually easier than renting an apartment. Um, the criteria that you have to go through and all that. And the fact that, like I said, when we talk about building wealth in our community and taking back our community, that starts with home and land ownership. Just don't think that you have to come and consider buying an existing home. We're gonna have home builders there. You can get approved to build your own home. So, that's definitely something that I want to encourage people to take advantage
Absolutely. Me and Ms. Young had a lengthy conversation last night about just this. Of course, we talked about other aspects of this whole entire weekend. And once again, everything starting off on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then gonna go past Sunday into Monday. So, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a person that is visually impaired, so I'm on disability. And I was thinking that there was no hope for me, and there was talk that even if you are doing disability, you can still go and purchase yourself a house. So this is something that any and everybody should come out to this and see what you can find out to help yourself own yourself a piece of earth. We had a couple of people call on here and say this is one thing that you need is have yourself a piece of the earth. Something that it ain't no more earth. Once it's all gone, it's all gone. So you need to have yourself some with it. And how you can say place somewhere to stay. Your own place and not just renting all the time.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I think that's a great idea to add that as a part of this Juneteenth celebration. But I'm highly encouraging, being involved with that Saturday celebration in the park. We got a very, very, very good performing Southern Soul artist. And as the flyers say, this is a free event. And I don't think you can come any better than evening of entertainment, food trucks, splash pad, pretty much. At least y'all have the whole entire park that whole evening for entertainment and just fun for the family to come out and enjoy.
exactly there. And it wouldn't be possible without community partners. We partner with PARA, Shelter State Community College, University of Alabama, um, several banks, and local businesses. So, I feel real good um, about this. I love to see how community come together um, and to do something positive in our community. It just seems like time after time after time again, you always hear about the bad stuff. Let's come out and celebrate together.
Absolutely. We want everything to look like the clips that you were showing on Tuesday, Daryl, of the Druid High reunion, which I got some calls from Central High folks that say, hey, we know how to do it too. But I will get into that another time. So we want people to show up like that. 750 people, 1,000 people, all getting together, having a good time together without no problems. And I know we can do it. And we do it when we want to do it. So
We
this is
do it
great,
when
great
we want to do it. There you go. We do it when we want to do it. And then I also wanted to talk about we partner with moms and some more community partners for a rally this Sunday at 3 o'clock at Snowden Park.
Yes, yes.
It's the Wear Orange against gun violence and gun violence awareness. We asking everybody to come out. I was really disappointed when I heard listening in on the public safety meeting, and I heard that council members talking about they're done with rallies. You know, that to me, and this is my opinion, is that type of attitude, that's kind of disheartening. You know, you hear people say all the time, well, I just feel like folks gave up on them. People didn't care. You know, uh, I don't know where I would be without consistent, consistent efforts to put me on the right trajectory in my life. Um, it just seemed like every time you turn around, I was what you consider like a preacher kid, right? I grew up in a house with two pastors. So at the end of the day, anything I was doing, it's almost like I was trying to do wrong. But just thank God that I had people that did not give up on me, and that's what we want. We want to show our youth. We ain't giving up on you. Nobody is claiming to be perfect. We don't all made mistakes. We want to know. We want to know how can we help you. We're not coming with any answers. We're coming with open ears. Um, if you want to talk to somebody, if you want to share your story, then come out there Sunday and let's do that. And I think that's the perfect segue into the youth forum, um, Friday, June 17th, um, to further those discussions. And don't think just because after Juneteenth we're done, Mike, like we were talking, this is something we're gonna make this a consistent effort. If the young people say they need it, we're gonna work as a community to get them what they say they need. Um, if I like to get the idea of going to college or learning a trade. I want to know what you're interested in. Where do you see yourself 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? You tell me that, and let's come up with you a plan to get you to where you say you want to be.
I absolutely agree with you. We were discussing that public safety meeting they had on I think it was last Tuesday. And they basically was saying something to the aspect of increasing the curfew or putting a whole other curfew on everything. And if I'm not mistaken, most of us already know that there's a curfew going on now.
But it's not being enforced.
Yeah, they're not enforcing it. So just to add another curfew on to the one you already got, I don't think that that's going to do much of anything, especially if you are not enforcing the one that you already have.
Exactly.
We know that there's times during the week, it's summertime now, school is out. You probably going to see at some of these places a bunch of cars with a bunch of teens outside. Not even just teens, but just young people in general outside. What they call music turned up, lights all on and everything. And they not supposed to be out there. They're supposed to be in the house. How it goes. And Daryl, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Sunday through Thursday, they're supposed to be in the house at 10.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday and Saturday, they're supposed to be in the house at 11.
Right. Come on, man. Just think about that though. Who gonna enforce that? And are those numbers? I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. I just don't have no answers right now. But I did.
Yeah, I don't think that's an enforceable thing to try to have a curfew for the team, especially with the police manpower that you have. I understand that you want to break up a whole lot of gatherings and everything, but
is that your problem? You feel me?
I don't really think it is.
If it's your problem, a lot of times I feel like when certain people start asking questions, elected officials start getting worried, and so then you start getting all the lip service about what we're gonna do. You know, um, I think I think that we need to be investing more into our communities and into social programs. Now I know there's social programs out there, but I know for a fact that not everything is for everybody. Not everybody is invited to participate in everything.
Right.
Um, Even though certain things are paid for with public public funds and public dollars, taxpayer dollars. Um, certain programs and activities are kept for certain demographics. So, you can't just say, go stay in the house. We keep saying it over and over, we're gonna have to have those programs. These young people need outlet. I mean, I was young, I know what you don't want to be cooped up in the house. You want to get out, you want to hang with your friends, you want to be soaking up the sunshine. You want to be laughing and talking with your peers. So I get it. I do. I get it.
I just know right now, right
for a long time.
With
If you can't somebody.
But how safe can we be, y'all? We gotta think about safety right now. Because I'm like Lisa, they'll give you the lip service, and then once the lip service is received, or we're like, okay, it's almost even though we're receiving, it's like, okay, here we go again to get us quiet. But those everything y'all mentioned they were very much needed. But right now, and not just locally, with everything that's happening nationally and locally, like Lisa said, people want to do those things, be outside, get some sun, but you want to feel safe. You want to feel okay that your child is over here, over there. Like my parents, they had to know where we were, from us being outside to us going to a school dance to us going to the splash party on Wednesday. Even though that splash party might have been some folks up there dark, we would have got that back home first dark when that light was on. So we the safety issue right now, and thank goodness it's this week is I don't know, it's been quiet, thank God. I hope
look, Veronica, I said it this morning when I was leaving the house. I said, oh wow. And then I was scared to say anything because I'm like, don't jinx it.
I know, Lisa, that's why I said God willing, I don't like you have to ask the Lord to continue to please let it stay this way. Even though you feel funny saying it, and that's sad. Like you said, you almost catch yourself.
And I was going to actually bring up the fact that, we were able to have the show that we wanted to have Tuesday because we didn't have any incidents that we just wanted to talk about. And I was scared to say it because of the same thing that you ladies were talking about. Because it had got so bad that, and I think that y'all, where we were talking about it on Tuesday about the last incident we had on 69 South. It was a road rage incident. Like you had somebody shooting each other because you got cut off in traffic. Like, come on now, that's pretty bad. We didn't got to the point now where people pulling out guns, shooting at each other for pulling out in front of them.
But they're talking about, if you look at the data, they're talking about how people are burned out, how people are just fed up, depression is on the rise. The one thing that we do not talk about in our community, um, is the mental health. That's why I was so excited when Miss Van Horn, I don't know her, but when I saw that forum that she did at
Skyland Park.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, the more stigma we remove, the more people will feel like they need to go get help. You know,
It was a refreshing thing to pull up there and have to drive around for a minute to find a parking spot because there was that many people there. It was refreshing to walk in there and see that whole entire, I think that was the cafeteria, that's a different kind of school than what I went to. But to see it was so many people walking around, going to all the different tables, getting information. It was refreshing to see all of that. And majority, from what I can see, what I saw in there were black people. And I was glad to see that because I feel like our community really truly feels as though they don't want to go and see anybody. We have a lot of marriages that break up because they don't want to go to counseling. We have people who sit there and be depressed for a long time because they don't want to go seek counseling. And people with all kinds of disorders, they don't because they don't want to go seek counseling. And that's everything from eating disorders, eating too much or not eating enough. Um, you know, being a workaholic. I don't want to go home because I hate being at home. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that you deal with on your own, and you feel like, well, I ain't crazy. I don't need to go to no counselor, but sometimes you just need to vent to somebody else that's not a friend, and not knocking the pastors, but all pastors ain't able to help you with that either. Sometimes you got to have professional help.
well, as part of my self care, I talk to a therapist every week. You know, and not necessarily just venting, just talking through some of my anxieties and some of the things that, I've had to deal with throughout the week. There is sometimes it's just the affirmation, no, you ain't crazy, everybody else, other people feel this way too, or just feeling like I can say how I truly feel without worried about being judged. Or somebody passing, thinking that I'm crazy. Like, am I crazy for feeling this way? No, that you're human. You're allowed to feel that way. Almost like validating, not something, not anything crazy, but letting you know that, talking it out gives you the outlet. And and then talk about solutions. So when you find yourself feeling this type of anxiety, what are we gonna do next time? We don't want it to get to this point. I tell people all the time, you better go talk to somebody so you have a nervous breakdown and then so that removing that stigma attached to you must be crazy. No, I'm trying to keep them going crazy.
Trying to figure out and develop coping mechanisms. At the very least, everybody needs to develop some type of coping mechanism. And
if it ain't nothing, Veronica, but removing yourself, feeling like it's okay to remove yourself from a stressful situation. Because we get caught up a lot in what other people think.
Right.
We get caught up in like, well, I stayed because I ain't want nobody to say me. But why? Why are you worried about them?
The sad part is, Lisa, I think a lot of times we're a society where we're living with people won't say it or they'll deflect, reject, and object to it. But it's basically a lot of times adult bullying, and that's why people feel so afraid. Because to me, if you're talking behind closed doors and it stays behind closed doors, it's fine. But anytime you have a conversation with anybody other than God, that conversation may go around the doors, outside the doors. And then when anybody gets a word of it, and it doesn't, maybe they won't put it on social media, but you have a hint of it. You hear it in the rumors. You hear it anytime you say something. That's why a lot of times, like I was saying before, people won't get mental health awareness checks or treatment here in town because it's so small. Everybody knows everybody. And even if they don't tell it to somebody that you know, somebody else that you know may be listening, or they may tell it to somebody you know, and it's like it becomes embarrassing because other people make it embarrassing for you. But even when you're in your therapy, you have to learn to have coping mechanisms. But it's like after adults in our society, a lot of what's going on with the young people is a reflection of what's going on with the adults. With this social media, sometimes I wonder, like, should it just be like it was in the 70s and 80s? Because of the development of these phones, which they have their good places when it comes to recording. With social media, you got 40, 50, 60 years people get on social media throwing subliminals, and then when they have mad day, they call names. And then with anything they see, you get some help over here at the mental health department or whatever department or something, they may make an implications. And then a person starts to feel bullied and they go back in the shell. And that happens often. It's not like, oh, it's just here or there. That happens often. Adult bullying it doesn't have to be constant harassment or constant. It doesn't have to be so constant. People have minds, and sometimes you never know a person's state of mind. You can say something to expose, basically exposing them. It only takes one exposure. And that's why so many people, like, they don't get it because they can't go out of town to get it, and they don't want nobody in town they see. Especially when they see, because I've been in that situation before, a talking ASS person. Some people, they sit there and they soak it up like a sponge and they say you up and down. Some of them even ask you your business. And then they go back out and it's like, it's all over Tuscaloosa. Because like I always say, Tuscaloosa is 15th Street, University Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard, Greensboro Avenue, and then you throw in Northport. You know, that's what it is. And we all live off of one of those main streets, or you go down to County 69. So it's like, it's so small, and people are just afraid of asking for the help that they need. And then those who can get it, like I said, a lot of times will go out of town, or they may be able to find somebody that can keep it confidential. You may find a new therapist or a new dentist or something. Whatever goes on, everybody gonna know about it. So a lot of times we just have to also try and learn to get coping mechanisms, because sometimes people just won't go out because of fear of being exposed. They won't seek help because of fear of being exposed. And then sometimes it's the professionalism of the profession. Who am I talking to? If this is somebody I've grown up with, I would expect that they would be able to identify or to at least have empathy for me. But a lot of times, if it's just somebody you grew up with in town, that's who you don't want to go to. Because there's one thing about it, people, it's something about people in general. And I'll say our community, but this is all communities. Ours is just really bad. We take it to another level. It's something about putting other folks' stuff on Front Street. No matter what person A may be going through, it's always something about putting persons B stuff on Front Street. And people just fear that. And I think we need to get out of that, but how do we get out of that? Because you really can't change the people. You know, so you can't change your community. They are who they are. They do what they do. And Mike said that a lot of people were in that room, so that was a good thing. And then I will say this too, y'all. A lot of people have gotten to the point that they don't care what people think. And it seems like those are the happiest people now. When you get to that point where you don't care what people think, or you know and I won't even say you don't care, but you learn to cope with it and deal with it. Some people have gotten to that strong point, but everybody hasn't. So what do we do to help those who haven't yet?
Encourage them to get help. You know, you have to just keep encouraging them. Yeah. And I agree, for a long time, I wouldn't go to a therapist in Tuscaloosa. I mean, I just wasn't doing it. There seemed to have been like a lack of professionalism when it came to people's privacy. Yeah. That I think that what I'm seeing now emerging is like our people going into the realm of social work therapy, and wanting to reach back and help their own and remove, like I said, remove those stigmas. So, I think it was like a real good thing. I was really proud, to see that that of that style. You know, I think it shouldn't be the last. It shouldn't be the last.
I absolutely agree. I think that with everything that we have planned, um, that we've had planned the last few months, we shouldn't do one and done things. You said something earlier about being consistent, and I think that that's one thing that we have lacked in our community is consistency. We'll do something one time, and maybe it's successful, maybe it's not successful, and you're like, well, we tried, and you won't try again. Okay, first time everybody probably didn't come to it, but the second time something everybody might come to it. Especially right now, we got the summer months. We fresh into summer. May, June, July, August. You know that around here, this is pretty much the slowest time for Tuscaloosa, if you would. Students don't start coming back until the middle of August. So we got to look out for the folks that are around here in Tuscaloosa, in the city, in the surrounding areas, because this is where we live. We live here. We're not coming for 4 years and then leaving. So we have to build our own city up when it comes down to everything. And mental health is one of them, and showing everybody that we are a whole community and not just us against them. And I think we have a lot of us against them type mentalities right now. Don't need to have it. We all Tuscaloosians. Is that what we call Tuscaloosians?
Yeah, that's what I call.
We all. Yeah. So it shouldn't be us versus them. It shouldn't be the West Side versus those people that live in Tuscaloosa City. They're in Norfolk, like the links or something. I mean, not the links, or the towns or something like that. It shouldn't be, but that shouldn't be the case. It should be all one Tuscaloosa.
You know, Mike, I hear that word "one Tuscaloosa" quite often. People use it at campaign strategies. Even the city of Tuscaloosa itself, I think, at some point in time, used the word "one Tuscaloosa," and that's when we're talking about unity. And I find this event that the NAACP is putting on is a form of unity, which one Tuscaloosa, which should be entailed when there's things that's going on at different festivals here in Tuscaloosa, Northport, wherever. We use the word one Tuscaloosa, so I think it'd be useful that if everyone could come out and partake in the events that's going to take place um, in those particular days to come on June 18th.
Absolutely. I know that some people use it as a slogan, but I mean, if it is used as a slogan, so be it. But let's put some reality behind it as well. Once again, we shouldn't feel like it's us against them. And really, truly, I don't think it should be no part of the United States of America that's supposed to feel like us versus them. And we still getting to that. I mean, I get it. We got different political associations, but when it's all said and done, y'all supposed to be
one Tuscaloosa. Let's see. Comments. Linda says she lived in a two-person home also, and also, hey, please make it make sense about road rage. Why? want to say hello to Tina Sanders. Thank you for joining in with us. Tina, has your baby back home yet? I know it's been a long road back due to the circumstances of what's going on.
Pertaining to that road rage, I don't think that there's a actual reason. Like I don't drive anymore, but I know when I was driving, I probably pulled out in front of somebody. I know people that pulled out in front of me. When I drove a Comcast van, I had to constantly watch for people pulling out in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they say if they see the Comcast sign on there, the C stands for cage.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Got a caller?
They put it out here because folks gonna try to make you cause an accident because the first thing they're gonna try to do is sue you because you work at Comcast and Comcast is a national company. So, and that was the stuff that we had to do. We had to do defensive driving. I say all that to say that I done been pulled out in front of before, and it used to be you'll say a couple of words and sometimes you'll blow your horn. And some folks get mad enough to flip you off or whatever. But it ain't never got to the point where I need to pull up beside you, brandish a firearm, and then shoot back and forth with each other. That's to me that's crazy. I don't understand that. When it was all said and done, it wasn't an accident, so nobody was hurt, no property damage. So just, man, you crazy, and keep on moving. That's how I see it.
You got a call on the line. Go ahead, caller.
They too tough. They want to be tough.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. Let me ask you one thing about this. I'm looking at it on YouTube, and I know you on 106, right, Daryl?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a delay in any of this?
It could be.
Oh, that's why I'm calling in at the wrong time, because when I called in, your subject was different, and the delay right now on Facebook is at the mental health. So that's why I was calling in. I heard some of the comments about the mental health and what they did on Saturday at Skyland Elementary School, which I thought was beautiful. And like everybody say, I don't want to see this stop. But what worried me about mental health, so when we're doing the Stop the Violence rally, I used to check out that field around 12 o'clock on certain days. And there were about 14 guys. Every time I went over there to check out the field, about 14 or 15 guys or more meeting in that particular spot. Some was mentally ill and some was just drugged out and home. When I got ready to set the rally up, I got there around 7:30 or a little before. And that's when you see all of these mentally ill people and drug addicts. They were just coming out. But that particular park is a is a spot where everybody comes. Because when we were cleaning up, the guys was on the picnic table because we kind of had pushed them off we didn't push them off, they wasn't there. We had already set up under the shelter. So I made a wise comment and I said, oh, I bet y'all go ahead and get your home back. And they're like, yeah, we are. But I saw a mixture of people. In the morning, there was the younger group heading over to the park and that sort of thing. A lot of people just walking the street. But that particular park, they do hover around there. But on that mental health thing, I am so glad that we are getting back to, well, not getting back to it,
were getting this information out to the public. Because when they close Bryce, close Cotlow, just whatever, they just put these people out, and it's just not right, and that's what we're seeing. But like I said, I'm glad to see it out there, and I know I'm late with the show, so sorry if I interrupted.
Oh
Thank
no,
you.
that's okay. We appreciate you calling in. And I've said this on many occasions that Tuscaloosa is probably the capital, one of the capital cities of mental health institutions. Bryce and Parlow, as she named, along with Taylor Hart, those facilities, and what is it, Cersei, I think. I can't think of the other one that was over in Northport, but
SD Allen.
SD Allen, yeah, SD Allen. All those facilities were here in the city, in Tuscaloosa County. And, I seen this along with Montgomery and Huntsville area. All the mental health changed, and it changed tremendously to somewhat give the right to the clients, but the clients really didn't understand their rights. You know what I'm saying? It's like they couldn't really comprehend that they had the right to be in the public. But I think it's I appreciate people that do that work at group homes to help accommodate some of these situations, and it still need to be addressed. Mental illness, mental health, all of it need to
Yeah,
be.
it still needs to be addressed because there are too many mentally ill that are incarcerated. And not to say that they should not be incarcerated, but they're in the pods with people who aren't deemed or classified or at least diagnosed with mental illness. Some of them have diagnoses as mentally ill, and when they get into trouble, they still go into the county jails. And then you have some members of society that don't want the group homes in their areas, not in my backyard. They used to get acronym for it when we were way back when I was in RN school. When it was becoming more prevalent that these group homes would be within communities. Well, the premise behind the group homes would be that they would be, not all of them, but they kind of started out that they would be high functioning. So that's why so many of them can work, and if they can't work, they can do for themselves with assistance, with prompting. And then some of the group homes now have those who aren't who don't function as highly, but they are help, but there still needs to be more. So like I said, there's the community aspect. I think the communities now are becoming more used to having them, I guess you could say. But sometimes they would have to deal with the not in my backyard syndrome from the community when they found out that a group home would be coming to the area. So that being said, and then one time like everybody wants on the group home. When they saw that it was potentially governmental money, all this different kind of stuff, but they just don't know all the legalities to it. It's not easy. So it's almost kind of like when you get these, we want to say, well, I'm gonna be a foster parent, and they're really trying to be the foster parent in order to get income. So, we have a lot of things that you have to contend with when you're trying to help them because so many places have closed down. There was one place I think in Huntsville that closed down, they closed Partlow down. Now we still have Bryce, we still have Indian Rivers, for whatever, however people feel about them, at least they're here. So some mentally, it's just like when people say, oh, they got issues, they shouldn't let them marry. Well, you can't deny them their civil rights. You still can't deny them their civil rights. Now, sometimes they have to have a conservator or, somebody placed over them. But if they are able to voice to you certain wants that they need that everybody else in society is able to have, or rights that they want to exercise to have those rights, they're open to them and they can have them. But sometimes, I just like Daryl said, it all needs to be addressed. Because what about when they encounter people? What if you're working at McDonald's, you're getting off work, you're waiting on your ride, and you encounter somebody and they don't even know. I think as a society we need to be more just have more empathy. I don't know. You can't make people have patience, but the mental health the state of mental health is really, really, it's in a shaky situation. And then we have those who want to use it as an excuse when it's convenient for them. And I'm not talking about the mentally ill. I'm talking about law enforcement or legislatures. You have this guy on here flouncing and flaunting all his guns when you have people on both sides of the aisle trying to come up with legislative gun reforms this week. And of course, it's not what it needs to be because it's both sides of the aisle. So the Democrats aren't getting everything they want, and Republicans are barely budging, but they're budging at least a little bit. Are we going to get into legislation? We still have to see. But you have one of them sitting here in spite of, and in the midst of these people who have lost their babies, and these people in Buffalo who have lost their family members, this hospital that this man has shot at least 4 people, which is what's considered a mass shooting. They're saying there's been 20 mass shootings since the Buffalo incident. Well, you have this Republican legislature that gets on here. This is my this, and this is my. And then so I guess the guy who was recording them was like, dude, kind of hold up. What? I'm in my own house. But you're on TV and you're trying to make a point the way these politicians do when they're making these commercials saying vote for me, and I hear you doing target practice. You know, and how do you think these people feel who are already going through it mentally, who have lost their babies? But you know, they were predominantly brown people. How do you think these people in Buffalo who have lost family members? And they don't even care when the people look like them. Look at Sandy Hook. Look at Florida. So it's like, what is, when there, now we have to find, where do you allow mental health to be the reason, and when do you not allow it to be the excuse? So they're just making it harder because of their rights or what they want to do. You know, how can you keep mental health at the forefront where it should be? Because it's crucial. And how do you stop it from becoming an excuse? Because now it's becoming the excuse, the deflection, the reason to reject, the reason to object. Want to talk about mental health all of a sudden. Remember when those shootings started kind of, I say maybe 10 years or so, they were kind of up there, they were having these shootings and stuff. And I'll say liberals, Democrats were like, okay, mental health, mental health. Well, the more these things happen, and they were deflecting mental health, they didn't want to talk about it. They were still taking money, shutting facilities down. Now that things have just gotten so awful, and it's almost like they cannot deny that gun laws need to be created, legislation needs to be done. Now all of a sudden, the Republicans want to talk about mental health. Let's put money into mental health. But people were telling you this at first. They'll even accept the argument of mental health. So when do we can't let them use this as an excuse. You just can't. The mental health of the shooter, the mental health. Half the time y'all see they've been suspended, expelled 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 times. But you also see a well-written, well-planned out, thought out plan, manifestos. Geniuses have mental health issues.
Yep.
I just want to figure out how can we help our community with it, and how can we also keep it from being a deflection. Because when we say, oh, well, he took off his clothes, he ran up and down the street naked because of a mental health illness or issue. How much did they want to talk about mental health at that point? When you're asking, you know what I'm saying? It's when it's convenient. It's when it's convenient for them to deflect from what they don't want to do. Then mental health, it's the mental health of the person. The gun didn't shoot the people. The person shot the people. It's the mental health of the people. But we were talking about mental health solely about 10 years ago, pushing it. And y'all were saying nobody needed. You remember mental health evaluations before purchasing a firearm? They didn't want to do that. Y'all remember they didn't want to do that. But now all of a sudden, but now you're talking about mental health though.
That's part of the legislation that has been sitting dormant. They've been trying to pass it since the Obama administration, and they won't even
because they didn't believe in it, and they still don't believe in it. But all of a sudden now you can use it as a deflection because the heat, believe it or not, even though they may not do anything, the heat has gotten hotter. Now something's got to be done about gun legislation. So they're using this mental health deflection. But like you said, Mike, mental health legislation has been sitting. We were talking about this 10 years ago. They didn't want to hear about mental health. Still allowing people to purchase weapons. And then it will be after the fact. Well, the media, some people dislike the media. The media, whether you agree with them all the time or not, it has its place. Because they were the ones that would say, well, allegedly this person was treated for this, and this. Law enforcement, those in charge would deflect from that. They don't want to hear. But now that the heat has gotten even hotter, babies, almost 20 kids, over 15, 19, however many people, including about 19, 21 kids, elderly people who are just trying to get something to eat, trying to survive, and people at hospitals, and it's back to back like this. So now all of a sudden, they're more interested in mental health, and Mitch McConnell won't even say anything about the guns when they're asking about gun control. Well, high school, how long have we been talking about school security, increase of school security, and mental health. We've been telling y'all about mental health. So it's important to me that mental health not be used as a deflection and a reason to reject and object to what needs to be done. But it's still important. People need it. The community needs it. Everybody needs it.
Also, don't just use mental health as a race, what to get, like I said, white people off either. Because you want to speak about mental health when most of these mass shooters coming up, white people, and they're crazy. You got to be crazy to go and shoot 20 people. But when you have to be crazy to go run down the street without no clothes
on. Okay. So they pay attention to mental health when it's convenient for certain people and not others. And it's so sad that we got so much we gotta deal with. It's almost like you're trying to work on one at a time. Because you can multitask. We can walk and chew gum, but when we're walking and trying to chew gum, somebody's always telling you can't do it. So what they do is they try and shut one area down. They try to keep you from multitasking. We can multitask. We can handle more than one situation at a time. But they don't want to unless it fits their agenda, or if the argument isn't conducive to what they believe, we get nowhere. And that's sad. It's sad. They're talking right now about mental health. Okay, we should be talking about that, but we still should be talking about gun laws. And from what I'm getting on the news is that, they're talking about the gun laws, but they're really focusing on mental health and school security. People have been asking for that all along. But they said no. But now that he disowned the guns, now they want to talk about it. So all we can do is continue to encourage our people to get mental health treatment. Let it be on record. Let it be on record if you need it. It needs to be on record. Because, like Mike said, somebody that goes and shoots up a school, you want to talk about his mental health record. Somebody running down the street, butt naked, doing whatever they're doing, and you want to act like the mental health state didn't matter. So we just have to encourage people to continue to get help where you can, how you can, and have it documented. Because they're taking facilities away. Why would you take away Partlow? Now, most people who are in Partlow weren't. Most of them, I won't say all of them, but some of them maybe had been arrested, at some point. But most people at Partlow, they weren't that. It's different. Many of those people at Partlow were born with the conditions that they had. And some of them weren't, but many of them were. At Bryce, a lot of the people at Bryce have committed crimes at some point. And then when they get a certain age, they go over to the Harper Center. And that's not secured like Bryce. Or they go to like Taylor Harden. That's not secured like Taylor Harden is. Many other people have committed crimes and they're waiting, they're trying to decide if they're going to be competent to stand trial. So Taylor Harden is still there. But imagine Taylor Harden has to take people from all across the state. All across the state. And I think, I'm not sure, there may be one other place in North Alabama. So, and Taylor Harden is where a lot of people, a facility like Taylor Harden is where maybe some of the people who are in the county need to be. But you can only take and hold so many. And some of them haven't received a diagnosis of any type of mental illness. But by the things that they do, they should be evaluated.
Mm-hmm.
By their track records, they should be evaluated. That's why it needs to be documentation. How long has he been getting into trouble? What type of trouble? What did he do? What is their IQ? And that's not even being funny. That's being real. What's their IQ? What's their EQ?
So, Daryl, if we were to put like counselors in police cars, is it a possibility that some of these police officers be trained as crisis counselors so that that they will be able to handle some of these situations, or is that just two different things?
I think policing should really just handle policing work. I think we're overstepping our boundary of what we're expecting of law enforcement. I mean, when you got people that's qualified, I think a lot of other agencies are going to the fact of hiring social workers and counselors as part of the responding program. And I think that's
Now, let me
something.
ask. Go ahead, Daryl.
And
I'm going to ask you something when you get done.
yeah, and I just think that's something that we probably got to look more into as being a part of a response. I mean, okay, you have a domestic violence situation that took place. Okay, you made an arrest out of the home. Now you got a victim that's still there questioning what's next. She or he may be feeling bad. Well, what's a perfect time for someone to intervene to answer those questions or to encourage? Hey, you don't have to go through this. We can find a place for you and your children to go right here, right now, rather than 24 hours later when, girl, you ain't had to put that boy in jail. You ain't got nowhere to go. The mentality just changes, but this person is being harmed at the same time. But go ahead, Veronica. What's your question?
Okay, like you said, sometimes law enforcement is taxed. They're overly taxed, and it's hard to keep. It's hard to keep. I mean, and then law enforcement is just like a lot of other fields. It's hard to keep people.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have like a hostage negotiator, haven't those people been trained somewhat in a mental capacity? Like, does Tuscaloosa have a hostage negotiator?
Well, you're talking to a person that was a hostage negotiator. I was on the hostage negotiating team here in Tuscaloosa, and I guess you can say
Okay,
my
so
train.
yeah, but so there's a team. There is a
Yes.
team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's
Okay, because my thing is to be a hostage negotiator. I don't know who they're allowed to be a hostage negotiator, but to be a hostage negotiator, you should have the person or team should have some type of training in an area of mental health as well. It don't have to be mental health, I guess, professionals, but think about it. A hostage negotiator may be encountering people who are holding people hostage. So I know that we don't have the first thing's gonna be said they don't have enough funds, and even if they have enough funds, then maybe they don't have enough officers at the time. But like they have tactical units, they have hostage negotiators teams. Like what about what they already have? And the closest thing I can think of is those who negotiate.
Well,
with the perpetrators.
The team was put together. Actually, I didn't have. I guess you can say my 4 years of working at Taylor Hardin before I became a police officer played a big role of understanding people with the criminal minded and saying, if those of you familiar with Taylor Hardin, I worked there for 4 years, and I used to sit in on some of those counseling meetings and stuff, and I read some of the Sigma Frog stuff, and it kind of gave me an understanding about people.
So even though you weren't like a professionally trained, even you were a mental health worker. Were you a mental health worker?
Well, they call it forensic technician then, but
forensic tech. Yeah, that's right. Forensic tech at Taylor Hardin. But you had some type of experience, some interaction, because dealing with those people, I'm telling you, those people attack mental health workers. One day, one guy got hemmed up in their room, and he did the whole too. So you really have to, if you can work at Taylor Hardin, you have, for 4 years, you have to have some degree of empathy, or unless you're just one of those people who can go to any job and just get along, you have to have something, and you're going to be exposed, so you can experience even if you're not even attempting to get experience. So that's why I say, like, I didn't even know you were on the hostage negotiation team, but even just that, not even maybe hiring, for right now, if they can't hire, something like a hostage negotiation team or some other unit within already, maybe can they not go alone, I guess, on certain calls? And I know a lot of domestic calls, it may be so many domestic calls that even their unit can't go.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But to me, that is the closest thing, I guess, if they couldn't hire anybody. I just thought about it. Well, hostage negotiators have to have, you can't just put any officer as a hostage negotiator.
No, because everybody.
Because just any officer can't do it.
No, you're absolutely right. Just, it was just what happened in a lot of the situations that I was involved in. It happened during the time I was already at work. And there was one situation where a young man had killed his girlfriend, and I was actually on my way home, and once I kind of learned of who was involved, I knew the person and went and talked the person down to turn himself in. So it all worked hand in hand, and I still don't have a problem with people don't live in Tuscaloosa working for the police department, but I still think there's a need for homebound recruitment of homebound people, Tuscaloosians, that need to be a part of it. I mean, so many incidents of where people that knew people could do the job where it could have been a whole lot worse in certain circumstances. I think I'm just sold on that homebound people policing their home community, and it just seems to have worked out so much better on a whole lot of cases now. Like I said, I know you ain't gonna get every individual from Tuscaloosa to be a police officer, but it plays a valid role to say, hey, Junebug over on 21st Street, I went to school with his mom, so maybe I could go talk to her to talk him into turning himself in or something of that nature. It was real vital that we had so many African American officers that were homebound people that knew West Tuscaloosa and other areas of Tuscaloosa that played a role with when it came to crime in this city, getting information. A lot of times people say, okay, the community won't talk, won't give you information. You hear that a lot now. But you know why? Because they don't feel comfortable with who they're supplying the information to. And that was part of the some of the plus, I guess you can say, of being a person homebound Tuscaloosan. People would say, hey, well, I know Daryl, I can trust he's not going to reveal my information or my who I am that's giving this information, and things took place. So that trust, that rapport with the community that Tina be talking about all the time, that's heavily needed. I'm still pro for as the community policing go. I seen a small portion. I didn't see all of it. I think there was an interview on TV Monday. I want to say it was Monday, where District Attorney Hayes Webb and Chief blatantly was on TV doing an interview with WVUA, and I didn't get all of it. I just seen just a short version of it for it relating to, I guess, the crime that was taking place here in the community. I'm not sure. Did anybody see that?
Oh yeah, for Memorial Day. Usually they don't have the regular forecast. I did see. I saw that it was going to happen, but I didn't get to watch it. But it may be still on the page, the WVUA, the live stream. You have the WVUA23.com. I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I really didn't see what they were actually all talking about, but it was mentioning. I what a lot of the things you're talking about, yeah, need to be addressed. It's and it's sad. Some of the things they do say for us a high percentage. I'm not going to use the percentage number that they say. A high percentage are repeat offenders or has been repeat offenders. Sometime I think a lot of people were complaining about some of the shooters that been arrested on some of these circumstances that they already had records of crime in their backgrounds or anything like that. So some of it is true. Some of that part is true. Repeat offenders is true. And when Chief Anderson was there, he was saying, the educational level of some of the others of some of the things. What I used to say when I was at the alternative school is, if you don't get the education now, you're gonna be forced to survive. You're gonna be forced to survive, and by any means necessary, you're gonna either shoot, kill, or steal to survive if you don't get this education. And a high percentage of those young men and some young women are in prison behind shoot, kill, and steal because they didn't want to get the education that it took to survive in this country. And that's what it boils down to, just trying to survive.
It's sad. It's sad. Like I said, mental illness it definitely needs to be addressed. But there has to be the medium between accountability amongst those with it and accountability amongst our legislatures and our law enforcement and other members of the community.
We also need to pay attention to everybody who's running for public office, and we want gun legislation, and everybody who deliberately get in front of you shooting a gun, talking about they gun rights and abortion rights. They basically telling you that they don't care nothing about what you think. Why do you want them in office? Every last one of them people running for governor of Alabama shot a commercial, shooting something.
Mm-hmm.
Each every last one of them shot a commercial saying that they stand with Trump. Each and every last one of them shot a commercial talking about not killing, not using tax money to kill our babies.
But when the babies are here, you're putting this burden on society. We paying your welfare. They talk out of both sides of the mouth.
But that's what I'm saying. If you like they're not even caring at all about anybody else other than them few people they feel like gonna come to the polls and vote. You need to surprise them and go to the polls and vote them out. Same thing with these judges. Same thing with what else running senators, anybody who's running and they deliberately put out there that they don't really care what you think, what you want. Well, you don't get my vote. I'm gonna use my vote. And it's not gonna be for you. And that should go for our local, our state, and our federal government elections. And our folks get tired of hearing us say it. We got to continue to say it, because if we don't continue to say it, we have these small turnouts. And the same people gonna wind up in office again. Excuse me.
I've been looking there to see if that interview is up. It's probably, they have a lot of information on here, so it's probably somewhere in here in one of the old shows. I know they used to archive the shows, and you could watch them again. But while I'm on here, I do see that the VA will be having a job fair on Saturday. I don't think we mentioned that, or I had heard about it last week, and I forgot to say something about it, but I do see that on here.
Our local VA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then because I saw it on WBU on the news the other night, and VA job fair coming this Saturday. We'll host a hiring and onboarding fair this Saturday, June 4th, to fill vacancies for registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, housekeeping aides, and I guess nursing aides. So I'm trying to click on it because they want me to, but I know there's four pieces of identification, not identification, but 4 articles. And one of them is your identification. A transcript. And see, I think now sometimes things like that will hinder a person because they're like, I can't get my hands on a transcript. They said an unofficial transcript because I guess if you're hired or you go on to the next step, they'll request an official one. But it says to bring a resume, 2 forms of ID, and the nurses, I'm thinking it's just the nurses who need their transcript. Most nurses probably have an unofficial copy of their transcript somewhere because some job may have asked for it before. But I guess for housekeeping and for aides, I don't think they have to have the transcript. But I think everybody has to have the 2 forms of ID and a resume. Oh, and they're also offering recruitment incentives for RNs and LPNs up to $10,000 in exchange for a year obligation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's a year obligation and up to 10,000. So I'm assuming if you're full time, maybe you're on the higher end of that. I don't even know if the VA hires part time, but even places like the VA will have part time or as needed workers because they just need to have coverage.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that they use, the nurses in the VA, they have non-patient seeing nurses in the VA too. So you sit in front of the computer all day. I got a friend who works in the VA
Yeah, but you gotta look up on the entry level when you to get an entry level like that. It's probably not gonna be a sit down. It's probably not gonna be you're probably not gonna be a paper pusher like that or a desk nurse for the entry level. But if they want to get this, if it's a way to get in and get established, depending on what their education is, or not even so much the level, but their experience, what they're bringing, then probably within a year's time or so, because you obviously gotta look at seniority and things like that. So just so they know whoever's listening, don't bank on getting in there and getting to a desk if you go and apply Saturday. But it is, like I said, people are hired. Once nurses go in one door and when they leave, they go into another door. So you never know what opportunity it may bring. If you go ahead and apply and get started, I know you can transfer within like 6 months, I think it is, and then move up like that. So and the hiring fair will be at the VA Sports atrium from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Do they have a flyer I could steal and put out?
I'm looking to see how they have it on here. They did a story. So let me try and see. I wonder does the VA have a Facebook page, but
Also,
if they
what
do, I'm wondering if it like the local. I don't know if it's the local VA, but I'm looking for a flyer. Yeah,
what
there's a lot of stuff. I sometimes go back and watch the newscast on WVUA.
what's the
So if that broadcast it's probably in here somewhere.
what's the deal with the new WIC um, thing about WIC? I think more people now are being able to
Yeah,
take advantage of it or something with by them lowering the annual income.
yeah, it may be increasing the annual income so that more people can be approved for it. Because it takes 50 cents. If you're over there by 50 cents, you don't qualify for certain things.
Yeah.
So I did see the story when I clicked on this VA story about the week story as well. I'm going to look and see if it's going to go back. I hope it goes back to that week story because it was right there too. Oh Lord, it's like the Tuscaloosa's most wanted. Health matters, children's mental health. That's another topic that when we talk about mental health, children's mental health. So see, they did an interview with someone about that from the university. Summer feeding returns to Tuscaloosa City County Schools. Um, VA job fair. Cottondale restaurant vandalized. Oh crap. With benefits to include more Alabama families. Yeah. Okay, here it is. And I don't know why they think working class people don't need assistance. They feel like if you make that 50 cents more than what the guidelines are. Let's see. Program eligibility for a family of two now starts at an annual income of $33,000, $33,874,000, or a weekly income of $652. So I don't know what it was before, but now it's saying that for a family of two, the annual income it starts at an annual income of $33,874 or weekly income of $652. These changes go into effect today and will last until June 30th, 2023. Alabama Week Director Allison Hatchett said the program promotes healthy diets for those who need it for parents and their children. So I wonder what I don't know. Alabama's WIC program understands the struggles many families face to establish healthy eating habits. And WIC is here to help women, infants, and children. WIC allows food benefits for eligible members of a participating family, along with cash value benefits for purchasing produce. I'm curious as to why it's just if they're saying it's going to last a year. They have some more information out here. See, latest numbers from U.S. Census Bureau report America's poverty rate was 11.4% in 2020, an increase of a point from 10.5 in 2019. This equates to 37.2 million Americans living in poverty. It doesn't really say, but it does give the chart. It does give a chart, so that's good. Income eligibility guidelines for June 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. A household, I'll say a household of four. Poverty level annual income is $27,750. The WIC saying that you can make annually $51,000. So if you're a family of four making $51,000, which a lot of people don't make, and a monthly income of $4,279 twice a month. See, this is what trips some people up to. They'll say what your gross has to be, and you may qualify with gross, but then when you're net, you may make a little bit too much. If your gross has to be 4,000, I don't understand why they do that. Like you have to gross 4,000, and then they'll say, but your net can be no more than 3350, and then you end up making 36. Well, you make more than the allowable net, even though you're under the gross. And a lot of programs they won't qualify you. So I think they need to they need to take some of the stipulations off that they have. So yeah, they have a chart here. There's a lot on the chart. So people, from a household of 1 to 8, and then it goes on at the very bottom with each additional family member, which you're allowed to make. So anybody who's interested in WIC, you might want to check that, check your income, check the other qualifications. I know it's for women, infants, and children. So any women out there, check it's on. I don't know if WIC has a site, but it is on the WBUA website. And those are the income eligibility guidelines for the next year, from June 1st to June 30th of 2023. June 1st of this year to June 30th of 2023. See, a lot of times, some of this stuff, there's a lot on this website, and I don't even think a lot of it makes the news. Or they kind of skim through it, and people, you may not catch it, and you never know if you don't happen to hear from someone else. There again, like we say, trying to get the information out. Sometimes it may seem like we're just rambling and talking, but we're trying to get some information out, and hopefully, even if there are no younger mothers, somebody who's listening has a daughter with kids, or they may have kids. Well, this is good because you never know, they may not have met the qualifications due to the income guidelines.
Yeah, I think that when you start talking, and I think all the news outlets here in the state, while doing that, they have they all have internet pages that they have now, and they have stories on there. They'll tell you, oh, you want to know more about this story, you live on this. The problem is, although we live in a society now that everybody has, but a lot of people have devices, smart devices, computers, tablets. There's still a lot of people who won't touch it. My mother will not touch a computer. She got a cell phone, and if you call her on it and she answers it, you done got lucky that day. I know some people like that. Some people just don't. They just not into the technology, and so they miss out on a lot of things because everything is driven toward just go online now. Just go online now. They so used to being able to go on and make a phone call or actually go into the actual place. It's a lot of these places have not even opened back up since COVID. They went strictly virtual. So
I think our society needs to get back. They don't have our society. Like you said, my everything is online. They need to account for people who still, even in this day and time. Look, how long was it that the West Side was supposed to get free Wi-Fi or whatever the deal was with that? Some people just truly don't have access even today to internet. Young people, and those who are most savvy are the young people. Some of them still don't have. They may have a phone, which helps. But sometimes it's best to be able to at least have a tablet or a laptop or something. And some people don't even have access to it. And plus those who don't use it. And then a lot of times they don't even take into consideration about the elderly people or maybe those who may be visually or hearing impaired. Sometimes they do take the hearing impaired as far as phones go into consideration. But a lot of times they don't take those people into consideration. And then you call, like just say to pay a bill, and your grandmother, your great grandmother's on here hearing, it ticks us off. If you want to do this, choose this. This, choose two. This, and that, choose whatever. And then by the end of it, choose 0. So what I've basically taught people that I know who didn't appreciate that is just to hit 000. Well, they caught on to that. It's like people are trying to make it harder. You have some people elderly people don't have the patience to deal with that. Some of them are really tech savvy and some of them do, but we don't have the patience to deal with it a lot of times. Like we were talking about when we were talking about a phone bill one time. When Darren was asking us about the phone bill, and I was telling people they want to keep putting you off. Or you get an automated automated system 2 or 3 times. And then one time you may look up and through those same automated people, you may get somebody. But they keep putting you off. So a lot of times they're not accounting for having empathy for people who may not even be tech savvy.
They tech savvy now. They feel like everybody.
But they know that they're not. They know that they know that they're not. Because when you get, like I said, your mom, she doesn't even have to do, and that's her choice. But what I'm saying is, what if she calls in to pay a bill? And or somebody else calls her and she's calling back to try and get to whoever, you know what I'm saying, left the message. And then she's getting given these 7 different prompts. Once you hit one of the prompts, you're given another 5 prompts. Once you hit one of those, you're given another 2 or 3. And then all of a sudden you're back to the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes that's very frustrating. That's even for people who who have patience.
Actually, and then especially if you go through all that and then the phone hang up.
Right. Right.
Or them times when if you want to pay a bill on the phone and they want to charge you for paying on the phone. But you can go online and pay for free.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I truthfully get it.
Or, you know, sometimes you go in a place like a doctor's office. If you use your card, just like Taco Castle now, if you use your card, they're charging you a fee because of their card machine. Taco Castle's had a card machine since the card machines came out. But it's like when everybody's broke, these companies aren't broke. People still eating, people still doing whatever. They aren't broke. Their products may cost more, but they were billionaires anyway, millionaires anyway. They aren't broke, but they're passing any extra cost on to the consumers who are truly struggling and just trying to work and make it, or just trying to make it whether they work or not. They're just trying to make it. Now you go to Taco Castle, if you don't pay with cash, you have a service charge on your card. Certain doctor's offices, if you use your card, it's a 0.03% or something like that charge. They charge you maybe $1 or a little bit less to use your card. Everything's going up. Well, those fees, you know, little fees like that tend to go up. And it's like, my grandparents, if you say something's $20, they want to pay $20. Now, if it's tax, grocery, of course they knew. But if you're going to the doctor's office, you're going to the dentist's office, you're going, you know, to get your car checked, and you use your car, and then there's an extra fee for using the car. There's, you know, so it's a lot of stuff. And but now what they can do, what a lot of elderly people can do, they're gonna read their receipts. And so it's like I just feel like this society is just it wants to make things complicated. Instead of making things, they claim it's easier, but they tend to really make it complicated. You have to remember all segments of society. Yeah, a 20-year-old may go through it and do it like no problem. 40-year-old may do it no problem. 50, 60-year-old may do it no problem. But somebody 75, 80, they don't have time for all that. They don't have time to be being put off. Go here, go there. Pick this option. This option, and like you said, you're back to square one, or they hang up. But what if you're trying to pay your bill, a power bill, and you can't get through? And then your power gets disconnected because they simply couldn't get through to make an arrangement on the bill or to even pay the bill. I think this online thing is just gone so it's not going to slow up, but some considerations need to be made.
Well, y'all, it's almost 10 o'clock, and it's Thursday. Coming to a weekend. I was telling Veronica, I was telling Mike I was doing a little homework while we was on the program tonight. And so, no, I'm not back in school, but just taking a little course I got to get through with. Interesting conversation. I appreciate everybody that chime in each and every week. Didn't want to ignore y'all. I was trying to take care of a little small business. But yeah, next week we'll be fully strong with topics and everything else and ready to go.
Okay, y'all. Okay, I see they're about to have, if y'all near TV, they're about to have an update on the Hay Court staffing.
On the Hay Court?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're having an update on the news.
Yeah, we need to get an update on the situation that took place with the sex offender over there across from the McDonough Healy Center too. It should have been a ruling.
Oh, what happened? What's the outcome of it?
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to see. We get with Lisa and see what the ruling was on that.
Oh, did she hang up? Did she sleep on the phone? Did she hang up, y'all?
I think she hung
She's
up.
still on the phone.
Is she?
She might be gone.
She's sleeping.
Voila.
She sleep. But did y'all see the wreck with the man off of into the Hyundai
Yeah.
dealership?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's okay. I'm glad he's okay. He just they took him to the hospital. I'm just not seeing some of these cars.
Yeah, there was some damage there. I think hit like 12, didn't it?
I think so. Wow. These cars, woo. Oh my goodness. Now, one of these cars, the back is just flattened. It's like an SUV. Wow. I didn't even know what had happened. My brother asked me about it, and then my daughter was like, yeah, you didn't see that? I was like, no, I didn't see that. Wow. Y'all be safe. Be careful.
That's true. Y'all don't forget about the rally on Sunday. I think she said McDonough Youth Center.
I don't know where. She didn't give a location, did she? I don't even remember the time. I know it's taking place Sunday. Veronica, you remember? I know we wear orange.
I'm sorry, it's Snowhaven Park.
I call and get I call and get more information. I'll post it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, y'all have a great evening.
All right, y'all have a good. Y'all be safe.
Have a great weekend, y'all. Be safe.
We'll talk.
Bye-bye.